Beastmaster top. They could run just dual lanes, Vengeful Spirit farming alongside a Lion, and then have the Bane babysitting the Alchemist mid. That may be a bit more likely, especially like obviously it's still open for Digital Chaos. If Batrider is mid, which he is now because there's going to be a Jakiro Undying dual off lane, with Batrider mid, you do need a babysitter. And Bane is going to be that for the Alchemist, just like he was that against the Razor. It's the same exact scenario, and Alliance aren't really equipped to deal with it. Maybe they'll put Undying or Jakiro mid.
I sort of started to think about, like, I'm wondering exactly if it's going to be a Jakiro or an Undying call, because who's going to be more useful in the game? Like, we kind of already saw, like, RK with the Jakiro. He definitely doesn't need the farm to be effective. If he gets it, he's even more effective. So more than likely it'll be Bulldog who plays up the Undying role here. But just the Undying and the Jakiro could easily contest against like a Bane VS and a Lion. Their ability to fight back is just so damn strong. You get dual breath early on, you get a couple of good decays. And it is actually Admiral Bulldog Jakiro. So they made the decision. This is going to be a core Jakiro from Admiral Bulldog in the hands of Alliance.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because in the dual offlane scenario of Jakiro Undying, Jakiro I think is more likely to be the farmer. I don't think there's just enough value. Like we've seen it a couple times early on in 6.85, 6.84. Teams like there'd be some teams experimenting with like the offlane Undying and Undying as a core position, but I just don't think there's enough value in him actually getting net worth. Jakiro, on the other hand, actually does hold a lot of value. He can get the Yules, go for Blink Yules. He makes a fantastic initiator at that point in time. Really excellent at picking off teams. The Aghanim's got a big buff, so maybe we'll see some of that. With the Ether Lens being added in, the Ice Path, I believe, is longer. It's a distance spell. It's like Burrow Strike, right?
It is.
So probably the same for Dual Breath, right? I don't know. It's really difficult. Ether Lens. It's hard to say what it does increase and what it doesn't.
Dual Breath's already bloody big. Like you look at like the Sonic Wave kind of area and Dual Breath. It's like it's obviously nowhere near the same level as that, but it's still like it's deceptively big compared to the animation you have.
See what Bruno said was the general rule is that
we can come back to Bruno in a moment. Aloda actually doesn't have ensnare. Okay, we can go back to Bruno.
The general rule is that of Ether Lens is anything that is AoE, it doesn't increase, i.e. Vacuum, Death Pulse, Ravage. Cast range does increase, whether it's a targeted ability or ground targeted. Not sure if that applies to Ice Path.
Yeah, which one is Ice Path?
I don't think it...
Yeah.
It applies to line stuns, right? Yeah, of course. So if it applies to line stuns, which we were talking about earlier, then Ice Path is a line stun.
Yes, it is.
So it shouldn't. So, yeah.
And, well, Dual Breath is a ground targeted ability.
Yeah, so maybe not Dual Breath.
Okay, so just Ice Path.
My head hurts, Toby.
Yeah.
Ether Lens is killing my brain. My brain box no working.
We'll get it working, bro. Okay, so... Loader's getting harassed as heavily as they possibly can, but AUI and TC really don't do that much damage to a PMS Naga. And up on the top lane, like Bulba's Boar can try and harass Jakiro out. The increase, okay, is that going to be no stuns? No stuns.
No stuns. I've seen that before from Alliance.
Just straight back out again.
Yeah, they've got Ensnare, Ice Path, and Lasso. Oh, and Flame Break, actually.
I'm kind of surprised that TZ didn't even just get it like a casual stick in this middle lane Alchemist. Like, it's coming on the courier now with the boots. But this early stages, he hasn't got any of the extra regeneration he could have had from S4.
Oh, because he still wanted the early bottle.
Oh, here they come, but they can't stun. So, yeah, there he goes. I'm like, those supports are in a really great position to watch him walk away.
They're going to try and gank up mid. Just like they did before. Let's see if S4 is going to be able to adapt. Because this is the exact same setup we saw from Game 1.
This time, though, the vision is there for Alliance. So they start the Nightmare over on S4, but the TP support's already coming in. So the Dazzle's going to arrive in more than enough time, and then they turn the engagement. The Shadow Wave damage, and that's 9 sticky napalms over on Arteezy. A very simple first blood, and a secondary one to follow up. Alliance, they baited the same play, and they capitalized on the situation.
Yes, they did. S4 is probably just sitting there, these dumbasses. And they don't know what's about to hit him. He's like, I've got sticky napalm stacks on Alchemist. This will never work.
Dude, there was 9 of them on Alchemist.
I know. It was just like,
no way. Like, normally when you have
see.
like 4 or 5, you back up, but he had 9 stacks.
I didn't see how many stacks. Hey, top lane, Admiral Bulldog's going to be gone on.
Yep.
They actually might be able to kill him with the board blocking and slowing.
With the dual breath and liquid fire, it's difficult to body block him up. And Jakiro is still one of the highest strength heroes, support heroes in the game. So he makes it to the tree line, and now Sal's back up again. He's just so damn tanky. Like, it's a level 4 Jakiro with a couple of braces, and he's already got 800 life.
Yeah, that being said, if Bane was level 2, even just the stats from level 2, they would have gotten that kill, but also they didn't even have Brain Sap, a 90 pure damage nuke.
TC and snares available. This will allow for soul rip damage after the Riptide, and it's actually not enough damage to get the kill on TC. He consumes up his Fairy Fire and then actually drops very, very low. 3 decays actually connected on him. S4 in the middle lane. The Shadow Wave is there in time for EGM. He'll Shallow Grave up as well in S4 just to make sure he's okay. But quick rotations coming in from EGM just to ensure the safety of his Batrider. Meanwhile, Admiral Bulldog is like, oh god, I love this. So I'm a very big Jakiro fan. Very, very big Jakiro fan. I really feel he's underutilized in most games. And I think this +7 base damage is enough to bring him back.
Oh, for sure. Quick question for you, Toby.
Yeah?
Since you do fetishize heroes, if you have, if you get with Jakiro, is that considered an orgy? Is that a threesome?
This is a very important question, Cap. And I shall need time to debate.
We're really entering the big philosophical questions. All right. In the meantime, I'll talk about the fact that...
Technically, yes, because there'll be 3 personalities in the bed.
Glad we're figuring it out. I'm glad you played along with that, too. I thought you were just going to be insulted by it.
No, not at all. I find these pondering questions very...
Oh, TC, what a player. He just wave of terrored, and he picked up 1 CS and 1 Siege Wagon.
Smooth.
That's value. Value wave of terror right there.
Well, we needed something.
That's the dream.
Like, he's got 9 CS now because of it. And this Vengeful Spirit, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't VS carries require a large amount of farm early on to be really effective?
Yeah, they do. They're kind of like, they're in a way, they're kind of like Huskars or Ursas in that they need their basic stat items before they can really go ham. Otherwise, they'll go into a fight and they'll just get nuked down every single time. Levels is just as important as items on Vengeful Spirit because, you know, Vengeful Spirit is a squishy core. Everyone's going to bring up the fact, but her strength gain. Yeah, well, you need levels in order to make that work, don't you?
Yep.
So, in the meantime...
You always need to be levels ahead.
Yeah. In the meantime, Vengeful Spirit... yeah, not having a good laning phase is not a good setup for...
It's also because it's like, it's one of the cores which is not maneuverable at all. So when you start throwing out the mass amounts of slow, and there will be a lot of slow, like, you can combine together just both of what Jakiro's got, like the Liquid Fire plus the Dual Breath, and then you add Sticky Napalm on top of that, then you throw down the Tombstone Undying Zombies, the Dazzle, even his Poison Touch got a little bit of an extra buff up. So you're looking at all of this control against a VS who's got Swamp. Without the farm, she can't have Force Up, she can't reposition. Even the Alchemist can get to a point where he will be kited. Lion getting in range is also difficult. He's got an Invis Room, which is helping him just lead to the experience from S4 as he farmed up the camps.
Oh, man. Batrider farming Radiant side is so much less efficient than it used to be. I'm just not realizing this. The space between the camps means he can only farm 2 camps at a time. No longer the triple camp like he used to do on the Radiant side.
Because he's got to commit the move time to go from
Look
one
how
to
low
one against
Arteezy
the
is.
other.
Too bad S4 didn't run into that.
And Arteezy was actually below 100 life before.
Yeah.
Because he's just trying to be efficient inside the jungle. This is one of these things which we were tossing up. when we're looking at the new fresh Aghanims upgrades. And what was that other item which we were talking about, which was going to just basically make the jungle work? It was the Quelling Blade.
Yeah, we
one.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Talon something, Iron Talon.
Iron Talon.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any abuse with the Iron Talon and trying to make some non-jungling heroes into junglers.
Yep. Hasn't happened yet. But Alchemist is one of the first ones that we flagged that you could actually get away with farming in the jungle with him, because it would just be so efficient because of also Grievel's Greed. Looks like TC's in trouble. That stun's not going to give him any kind of space. It's the sticky napalm, it's the flame break pushback, and TC can't fight this one. So TC, like, he just has to die. TC's too busy farming, and 1437 was too far away, and he couldn't TP because TC was too far up the river.
I'm not sure what. I guess they're like all the games of Digital Chaos so far. They're just gonna rely on RTZ to carry them through. Because currently they're just, it's not just the players, but it's actually largely in this game.
Here they come.
The setup.
Nightmare prep. TZ. Easy concoction throw over to Admiral Bulldog. With the negative armor from TC. They're easily able to burn through that Jakiro. But still, Admiral Bulldog's got so much on this off lane. Another way too he's been finding the farmers just by throwing down the macro pyre. It's a very low cooldown. Like it's a 60-second cooldown across all levels. So you just use it to farm up, harass the lane and push it out, then it kicks back towards you. Downside is, however, he doesn't really have an escape mechanism, so he's going to do it all through lane presence. DC rotate, find the kill, and now they push out the top tower. Support's rotating over from RK, and he's doing this underneath the vision of the Hawk. So DC understand what's coming their way, and that allows Bulba just to instantly start off on the Roar. RK, he couldn't even get the Tombstone down. Song of the Siren arrives from Loda.
Ooh, Admiral Bulldog
trying to allow them to reset. Nesfall is going to arrive. The stun flies forward. Where is it? Going to push back RTZ. EGM. It's a good Shadow Wave damage, and that'll allow RTZ to drop, and they drag Bulba back in again with that flaming lasso of S4. Making it a tier 1 tower being probably destroyed by the Beastmaster on the top lane. But they lose both the Alchemist and the Beastmaster for it.
That still could have been so much better for Alliance. One of the things is that they definitely should have TP'd in Loda earlier, and not try and initiate with the Undying. But if Ake had even just laid down the Tombstone before he got the stun, and he was halfway through the animation too, and then all of a sudden that silent or the sleep comes in, and they're underneath Tombstone during that duration of sleep, they could have caught maybe an additional hero. Plus, Admiral Bulldog didn't actually set up that well. In order to hit like a big macro pyre ice path or anything like that. So Digital Chaos, they've seen the combination now that's going to be at work against them, and how much potential it has. They need to be a lot more careful against it. Otherwise, they're very rapidly going to lose this game.
But for right now, that combo's on cooldown. So they force the issue down on bottom lane. Bulba, AUI, and as well as TC. Very difficult to harass with these illusions of Loda, primarily because AUI is able to get rid of him so quickly. Makes the line a little bit more, well, useful in this game. And he's still waiting for an attack. He's got Finger of Death available.
Are they going to kill the Hawk or what?
They're
What's
having
going on?
Decades of cooldown in 4 seconds time, but now it's repositioning.
Guess they missed out. Top lane, they're going to go on Admiral Bulldog here.
Another Nightmare into Concoction combo. They're actually TPing up extra heroes, so AUI is leaving the bottom lane to ensure another kill over on Bulldog. Like, it's good for DC, but I'm wondering if all these rotations are really worth it. Because they can't push the top lane. Like, they push it down and go to a tier 2 tower. Bulldog will be up by that point, and he'll just return Dual Breath, Macropie the wave, and he gets all the farm and experience. So you don't really, like, you achieve the kill on Bulldog and you slow him down a little bit. But that's all.
Yeah, and at the same time, Alliance did commit a significant number of heroes at the bottom lane and didn't get anything for it in response. So it's still very favorable for Digital Chaos, and they're doing a good way of grinding their way back into this game. I think like some of the smaller movements have all been favorable for them, even if like the big plays have all gone the way of Alliance, right? That mid play where they got the double kill turnaround on First Blood, the top lane engagement. You're going to see a lot of potentially big team fight plays coming out from Alliance time and time again, but in the downtime, Digital Chaos are going to be probably farming more efficiently and finding better pickoffs. Especially soon to be Beastmaster Necronomicon. That's a support killer right there. That combination, just Roar Necronomicon, just almost guaranteed the support ties.
Observer ward down, they see AUI. They don't have vision to bulb, however, but S4 is going to reveal that blink dagger, and boom, boom, there goes AUI. Spends all of his money before his death, however. So he's able to get Tranquil Boost as well as the end of his wand. With the death of the line, it looks like Alliance feel confident enough to attack into that tier 1 tower. The tombstone's down, so DC won't feel confident about going against that, but they're going for the trade-off. So Arteezy keeps the creep wave at bay inside of his own acid spray, and they'll just go for a tier 1 with the lion on top for Alliance.
I was thinking, is this going to be the same build for Arteezy? There are other builds on Alchemist that are pretty efficient depending on the game. For example, like the Armlet build on Alchemist is actually very strong. We've seen Solar Crest first into Blink Dagger as more of a ganking Alchemist. But I think SNY is the right approach in this game. He needs to be statting up as a carry as the game moves forward, but he also needs the kind of maneuverability that will set him ahead of S4's Batrider.
It's like DC feel confident enough they can just jump into Roshan. They have the Necro books, but no medallion. But I suppose with Wave of Terror as well as Acid Spray, do you really need a medallion?
And Inner Beast. Let's not forget that attack speed is a pretty big boon to your Roche taking.
True. And there goes Roshan. So DC, a very quick pickup for it. They really didn't lose that much time, and Alchemist is the one who gets to walk away with the Aegis the Immortal. It's kind of funny considering he's probably the tankiest one of all of DC. You could have ensured a little bit more life on TC or...
Yeah, but I don't think it's just worth it enough. The problem is with Eventual Spirit, you have such crap farming capabilities. TC lost his rights to be a 1 or 2 position a long time ago because DC pretty much like sacrificed him.
Yeah.
Just left him in a bad lane.
Like right now, I think AUI is more powerful than TC is.
And once you get to that point, like by 12 minutes, I would say, if you are not sitting like top 3 of the net worth, then you're out. You're no longer the core position. If you are, you're like a utility 3 position at best. Just because you can't farm very efficiently. Like you have to get the early amount of net worth in the laning phase, and then transition that via fighting and pushing down towers to continue your net worth build. Otherwise, every other carry out there is going to outfarm you.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
So
attack.
while DC are now taking up the Rangers, and they're keeping almost their entire squad here,
Dire's top tower is under
Bulldog's
attack.
taking out the top tower with the help of EGM. Alliance are actually preparing to gank up on bottom lane. Now, the Dire Observer Ward won't scout the fact that S4 has this Impis rune. So Bulba just get lassoed. He buys his level 2 Necrobook before death, and will get the Roar off on Loader, but he won't find anything more than that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty okay for Digital Chaos. I mean, that was one of those, like, somewhat sacrificial plays where you know you're pushing so far forward that it's likely for you to get caught. But just the positioning and the amount of resources that Alliance are forced to use there in that kind of engagement is kind of worth the trade-off. Because at the same time, they guarantee that the Ancient stack is taken and that Alliance don't smoke gank it or something. Right, because that would be disastrous. A pick off on Bulldog, or Bulba, rather. Not so much, especially since he got his Necronomicon, too.
Yeah. So nothing of value really lost then, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Bulba does need to continue his farm, though, because they can't just have the Alchemist be the only one with net worth.
Yeah. Either that or they just go for this. Like, group up, try and go for a pick-off. EGM is already trying to zone out AUI, but he lost vision of him. So S4 will arrive and also reveal the fact he's now got a 4-staff. So S4 with a lot more maneuverability on this Batrider and potential to have a long drag back. But DC are the ones with the vision. So Alliance were going up a little bit blind to try and find AUI. DC, they had the Observer Ward in the lane, and that allows them to see everything. The Hawk pops up, so there's nowhere to hide in the tree line. And a very quick pick up on EGM.
Early aggression is good for Digital Chaos. It also just fits their playstyle. But I'm not convinced that they're going to be able to push uphill against this kind of lineup by like 30, 35 minutes. And that's why you need to continue this net worth build on the Beastmaster, because this is going to go past 35 minutes most likely. And at that point in time, you're dealing with a Naga Siren that's probably outfarming almost everyone in the game. You might even see her outfarming the Alchemist. That Radiance is just a bit too strong, and she did get a slight buff with Intelligence.
Raw? Goes down to Jakiro.
That's
Bulba.
too far.
Actually going to trigger off the Necro book, so Admiral Bulldog loses a lot of his mana very quickly. And the Song of the Siren comes out from Loader. But Bulldog, he'll have to use his 17-1 charge. That stun lasts for such a long period of time. And now he can go for the Dual Breath underneath the Tombstone. They're so much slower. They swap RTZ up. The Tombstone's already down for the count, but they're fighting within the Macro Pyre. 1437 will burn. TC as well as RTZ will join him. And AUI had to back out. They lost all of their armor thanks to the weave of EGM. And RTZ CP, if they got a stun, the ensnare will be there. The Flame Break was also used. So they burn through him. And there's 3 heroes down for TC. The mid tower will get denied the last moment by EGM. But
DC did not respect Alliance whatsoever there. The fact that they, like, Bulba went for that stun in the first place, that was so far in, and we talked about early on. They saw the potential that Alliance has with this exact kind of team fight. It's like they kind of forgot, and that is very common in professional play. When a hero is out of the meta for a while, you kind of forget some of the capabilities of the hero and some of the, like, biggest strengths, and you make some plays that you normally wouldn't. And grouping up like that, diving in deep against a Naga Siren, it's a big no-no.
Yep. And Loader hit the perfect position too. Like, he just wandered himself in and caught all 5 heroes of DC.
Yeah.
I actually thought they wouldn't have had enough of a follow-up. Like, Arcade's Tombstone didn't really survive that long. But because Bulldog had so many 1-charges available, he got so much of his mana back again that he was able to throw out the Ice Path, able to throw out the Dual Breath, and that just bought space for S4 to go to town. Like, you throw down Firefly then, so you're burning on multiple fronts from both Macropire, Dual Breath, and the Firefly. And then S4 sticky napalms up everyone so you can't run away. And then all their armor was being stripped out of it as well, from both Riptide as well as Weave. That DC became paper.
Yeah, and DC have a decent amount of sustain as well. Their supports are relatively tanky. Bane and Vengeful Spirit have pretty good strength gain. The Beastmaster with that Necronomicon 3 is decently tanky as well, and the Alchemist has his Chemical Rage, but didn't matter. Just too much team fight from Alliance. They continue to hold a pretty significant lead, but it's not just the gold, but it's also the experience. The experience is pretty big for some of these support heroes. They've got the Yule Scepter. No Blink Dagger, though, for Admiral Bulldog. Looks like he's going to go Force Staff first.
Oh, there's your Blink Lasso. And goodbye, AUI. Stuns up on the illusions only. But this will allow Alliance to take out that Tier 2 tower in the top lane. DC just can't come and contest it. How long they got for... Okay, so just under 2 minutes before Roshan could spawn. But Alliance have their combo up. The only thing they don't have right now is the Lasso, because they just used it to find the pick. But they got Tombstone available. Already up at level 4. You got all your control available.
If you know you can get out successfully without getting caught, you should always push uphill in these sort of scenarios, because you just want to force the TPs back. That way it's really inefficient for DC. Now what you're going to see more professional teams do is they stagger their TPs, because they want to see if we TP, one support back, are they going to, back down from that push? Can we keep our carry farming aggressively? But the case is very clearly no. Alliance just keep on punishing.
Well, there's the swamp. Admiral Bulldog gonna sell fuels, and there is your Song of the Siren from Loader. They actually dropped down the Tombstone because TC's just so far out of position because of that swap. The Ice Path will still hold him in position, and now TC, he just burns underneath the Firefly. With the Undying minions down and the Necro units also having so much of their time being wasted, it allows Alliance to keep attacking him. The Liquid Fire goes in the tower, so the Creep Wave actually takes even less damage just thanks to the effects of Liquid Fire. And the burn, okay, Alliance will say enough is enough. The Tombstone's timing out. DC Smoke, they want to try and find these exit kills. And maybe with AUI getting that double stun as possible. A follow-up double stun from Arteezy. The Finger of Death, it kicks in. S4's not dead just yet. They really want EGM. He was the one walking around. Actually, did they pass off the gem? Yeah, they did. S4 actually picked up the gem, so he's out.
Nice.
So
nice
they understood that EGM was going to die, and they're able to save the counter vision of the gem.
Good call. I didn't notice that one. S4 actually should have been maybe caught by AUI, but nighttime vision causing a bit of issues for our Lion, and S4 was able to blink after what was almost a one-shot kill. He's got 3k gold on him now.
they're gonna have that's the thing. They're fighting without even having mech. Like sometimes you'll see core Jakiros go mech. Remember the old safe lane from farming Jakiro where you go for like push lineups that end the game by like 15-20 minutes?
Yep.
What was that? A VP? No, that Empire special?
It was a BZZ special, wasn't it?
Ah, yeah.
It was the safe lane. It was the safe lane Jakiro and off lane Bristleback.
Yeah.
Was how they played it.
But this Jakiro chose to go for the utility build, which I do agree. I think that Yules is just too powerful on Jakiro.
Yeah.
And this means that their mech is a bit delayed. It's going to be on the Undying. He's only got arcane boots and the buckler right now. Actually, I thought I saw him with the headdress earlier, so that may be back.
Came on the courier.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on the courier. He didn't deliver it just
So
now.
now he has that mech.
S4 jump. Oh, that's a big pick off. 1437. You didn't have Fiend's Grip available, but when you group up like that, the damage from the Shadow Wave is huge. And they start once again. Loda still has Song of the Siren available. Not a lot of mana to work with, however. And this is his only major downside. But then they've still got Arcane Boots available. That's coming in from Arcane. So Loda can make more copies. And
Alliance,
this push can keep going.
They shouldn't push uphill yet. Wait for the mech to be picked up by Ake.
But they don't have to really risk anything. Maybe when Admiral Bulldog throws that, because Liquid Fire actually works like a normal attack. So he keeps he just missed 2 attacks uphill with Liquid Fire.
What Digital Chaos really missed their opportunity, though, to go on Alliance. The thing was that Load was too far forward. When he was on that Tier 3 tower, he was too far forward. If they swap and stun with the Beastmaster Roar, and then they follow up with the Lion and everything else, they have successful catch to be able to burst down the Naga, and then the fight, I think, is theirs. They may have, like, a tough engagement to go on, but they could still just, like, quickly kill that one hero. That's the one thing about Alliance, is that they do always have the retreat potential when they push high ground, as long as the Naga Siren is not the one who's caught.
Yep. Even if she just has a mana taken away, that'll be enough. S4, oh, the Ice Path from Bulldog, they catch out AUI. S4 was the one who was being a little over-aggressive, but DC, they took the bait, and now Alliance will slap them down. Bulba trying to run up, and he will be popped down. So S4 able to go on a wicked 6 streak. 707 as this Bat Rider. And now 4.3k gold on the Bat Rider. He still refuses to buy. Okay, there it is. It's the full BKB.
I was wondering, I was like, what is he going to go? Is he going to go, like, Shiva's? I thought Shiva's because I didn't think BKB had that much value against Swap, Fiend's Grip, and Roar.
Having the extra armor up against DC. DC's lineup is specifically.
Yeah, and just the AoE initiation is super nice. Like, you're probably never going to get a really good lasso anymore. But still, the Shiva's initiation is significant enough.
I don't think S4 just transferred the correct item. Because he just gave himself smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of the BKB, and the courier's not turning around yet.
It's a strat, Toby. Hide BKBs.
Well, that'd be useful if Loda's also hiding his Manta, which, funnily enough, he is. He's actually hiding his Manta. The recipe's over on the courier. So now he'll fly up. But, really?
I'll have it soon. I'll have it soon.
Bet he will. Again, these Dominator creeps are coming in. It's TC's Helmet, the Dominator.
Helmet Dominator needs a nerf.
Really?
Yeah, watching the way that Arteezy has played around Helmet Dominator, I think he's the best at doing it. Like, he's always, like, aggressively scouting out. The fact that the creep is running around at 350 movement speed and has that much HP is just absurd. And the fact that you don't get punished for it because you could just disassemble in order to kill the creep. So there's, like, literally no commitment. It's just like, I have a free mobile ward that's going to go and scout out what the enemy's doing, and they're not even going to get gold or experience for it.
So this Roshan belongs to Alliance. The Radiance pickup was Arteezy's next item of choice. So it's going to add a slight mischance, but we basically had burn versus burn. But if you're looking for the harder burn, it's definitely Alliance's lineup. But DC, they've still got so much potential for defense. As long as they don't get picked off. And that's exactly what S4 is looking for. He's got no. He's got a little bit of vision inside the base thanks to his creep wave, which he's now going to lose. We're going to watch his jump position. No observer ward being planted inside the base. The tier 3 tower will just tick out. Naga Siren able to get the last hit on it. And now the Alliance building siege begins. And what a great time to do it. You just got a 4-man weave. And, well, S4 wants to try and force the fight. The TC swap is there for defense, but Song of the Siren is going to allow them to reset. If you can keep this up long enough, Arteezy will even stun himself as they come out. Kept up a little bit too long, so the stun didn't impact, but Bane's already down for the count. TC follows Narteezy. Instead, underneath the tombstone, he'll drop as well. And that is just a perfect execution for Alliance. And DC call the GG. They'll end up going 1-1 in their game up against Alliance, which actually puts Alliance in the top part of the group after their 2-0 victory earlier today. And DC now having 2 draws to their name, up against Team Liquid to start with, and now up against Alliance.
Yep, like we said earlier, Alliance is looking pretty damn good in that first series, and they can continue it with a very dominant victory in game number 2.